Hey, Tasha here with Emerge Sales Training. And today I wanted to chat with you about what I think is, I'm going to grab my notes here, the most important yet most neglected goal in network marketing. Now, as I go through this, you might be wondering, okay, this is cool. So how do I solve some of these problems? And if you want to just check out our courses, you can go to emergesalestraining.com/courses. So let's get into it. What is the most, what did I say? What did I call it? The most neglected goal in network marketing, but it's also the most important. And you might think, if you're new to the Emerge scene, then this, you might be like sales goals or whatnot. If you've been around a little while, you may say impact goals. And I think that those are important, but I'm actually use a concrete one. And I think it is lead generation goals. Lead generation is, I think, a really neglected piece of network marketing. And it's also like mission critical. And so why would I call this the most important goal out of all the goals that we have? Why is this one the most important? Well, all things flow from helping customers and serving them in appointments. And if you don't have people to talk to for appointments, then you don't have appointments. Most of the times, your best business builders, team members, recruiting, right, comes from customers. And so if you don't have people to talk to, right, leads, we'll call them, that's the technical term, but just people to talk to call specifically with the intention of setting appointments, then you're in trouble. And the referral goal or the lead generation goal, because there's a couple different ways to go about this, that's the first domino to fall, right? So here's how it works, right? We dropped the first dominoes. I got some referrals specifically. That's what I'm going to talk about today. And then I would call the referral, right, and set up an appointment. And then from that appointment, I'll go over the agenda. I'll go over their goals as they relate to my product or what's important to them. I'll connect the dots for them. I'll give them a couple options so that it makes it easy to buy. Then I'll probably say something like, well, I don't want to make any assumptions. So I really try to ask everyone, would you like to learn how to earn money? And then I would say, okay, no problem. If they said no, or I'd say yes, I schedule an appointment. If they say no, say, okay, well, how did you like this presentation? And then I would launch into a referral approach. And so you can see that it all feeds each other. But why don't we have this as a goal? Well, I don't actually even know why this isn't a goal that's talked about more in network marketing. So my direct sales background was selling Cutco knives. This was back in college and then after college. And when I was a manager, the number one goal that we had to focus on when we were launching people, the most important thing that we ever cared about was how many referrals they got. It would be like this. It would say, hey, I'll use Charlie as an example. Charlie's my husband. He also used to sell Cutco. And I say, hey, Charlie, how'd your appointment go? Good. What was the sale amount? Oh, it was a no sale or is a sale? Okay, how much? Okay, great. And how many referrals did you get? And how many referrals did you get? And how many referrals did you get? And we would not worry about the person who maybe met with 5 people and only made 1 or 2 sales, but got 20 or 30 referrals, as much as we would worry about the person who made 5 sales but didn't ask for referrals at all. Because here's what happens if you don't ask for referrals consistently. You run out of people. Now, another reason I think this isn't talked about so much is a lot of network marketing superstars, which are a lot of times the people who are writing a majority of the training, they have a lot of intuitive people skills. Now, I don't really have that many intuitive people skills. Growing up, I always got in a lot of trouble for being too grumpy, for not saying hi to this auntie or this auntie. I think I still sometimes get in trouble for not saying hi to aunties at my mom's parties. And it's not something that comes naturally naturally to me. Like, I don't go to a thing and then schmooze in the room and meet a bunch of new people. I'm the kind of person where I'm like, where's my friend? Where's my friend? Where's my friend? Oh, hi friend, how are you? And I'm going to just like hang out with you the whole time. Or a lot of times I'm like, I don't even want to leave the house. I want to watch a movie. I'd rather not leave the house. Like, it's the reason that we built a pool in the backyard and we have an air hockey table upstairs. And it's like, I never actually have to leave my house. In fact, I work from home now, which is even more awesome because I really don't have to leave my house. And so if you are not that like people person that goes out and meets everybody, then we have a really, really big problem. And what happens is if someone runs out of people to talk to, then they do one of two things. They quit and they leave, right? They're like, I'm not doing this anymore, I don't like it. Or they quit and they stay, which is even more dangerous sometimes because then they're around, but they're not successful. And that can harbor resentment, be a strain on relationships. And so we do a closing training that we do around setting up appointments and making sales. And I've talked to some leaders that I've worked with personally, clients, and they'll just be like, how many appointments did you set up this week? How many appointments did you set up? Go set up appointments. And then I challenged one and I said, well, have you asked them how many names they have to call? And in the entire time she'd been doing this as a business, it had been a lot of time. So I was like, that's interesting. So I asked someone else, same response. And I asked someone else, same response. Because for these people, it was intuitive to them. They had too many people to call. So they didn't even understand that there were people, dodo heads like me, who wouldn't actually just manufacture a bunch of contacts out of thin air. They actually had to have a goal and a strategy, and they needed to try. And what was so cool is that one of my clients just asked around, like, how many people do you have to call? And it spurred up some activity, but she also found out some really, really important stuff. And so we need to have this goal. In fact, if you had almost no other goals, if you could only pick one, this is the one I would pick. Because all things flow from it, right? Even recruiting, that's an important goal to have. A sales goal is an important goal to have. Those don't actually drive all the things that come last, but the referral goal comes first. The referral goal drives the performance of all the rest of the goals. And so how do you go about setting this goal? Well, first, figure out how many new customers do you want to see in a month. So let's say we want to use I want to meet with 10 people in a month so I can make 6 or 7 sales, that's the percentage that our students typically make sales with, between 60 to 80%. And so I want to meet with 10 people. Well, really simply, all I would recommend you do is multiply that number by 5. So multiply that by 5. So I want to meet with 10 people. I need 50 leads. I want to meet with 5 people. I need 25 leads. And so let's say I just have a goal, right? I work part-time. I just want to have 3-4 new customers a month. Let's pick 4. So I need to meet with 5 or 6 people. That's 25 to 30 new names. Now, I'm not saying this to discourage you. I'm saying this to encourage you so that you understand what you actually need to do so you hit this goal, because you might be looking like, why didn't I enroll 4 people? There's a couple ways you could do this, right? You could have someone host a class or a party or a group event. They invite 25 people and then 5 people show up, 5 or 6 people show up. And now you're good, right? You can get 3 or 4 new customers from that. So that's one way to do it. Another way to do it would be, not everybody is going to host classes and parties. In fact, with the growth of network marketing, it seems like that a lot of my customers, students, clients, they've been saying that that's been harder and harder to do over time. And so what I recommend is asking people one-on-one. So if you did want to do a group, you could ask them if they'd like to do that, right? If they'd like to do a party or a class or whatever your company calls it. If they say, nah, it's not really my thing, right? Like, I wouldn't necessarily do that because I told you, like, I don't want to leave my house. I don't want to talk to a lot of people. I spend all day talking to people and I kind of just want to recharge. And so then you can ask for one-on-one referrals. And if you ask every single person you meet with in a month and you average 5 referrals, guess what? You have enough referrals to meet with 10 people again the next month. Do you see how that works? And that's something that's really cool. Now, if you are like, that's a lot of referrals, Tasha, I think you're full of it, which has, I think that maybe from your perspective, you could see that, right? Because this is not a goal that anyone has ever talked about before. But when I was selling Cutco, I used to average between 15 and 20 referrals. And I was selling to women in their 30s and 40s that had jobs, or their spouses had jobs. And I'm pretty sure that's the target market for most network marketing companies. And so it's the same person, and I had so many referrals that I actually didn't have time to call them all. So when I was selling Cutco, I started in Orange County. I lived in Anaheim. I went to college in San Diego. So it was between my junior and senior year. So between my junior and senior year, I had to figure out how was I going to sell in San Diego. So I went, I just asked people, I would ask them for the referrals. I think I was asking for 25 at the time. And so I would range somewhere in the middle, right, between 10 and 20. And then I would ask, well, who do you know lives in San Diego? So I ended up with 2, 3, 4 names. I can't really remember how many, but I do remember I got 2 appointments. One went nowhere, and the other one gave me 15 referrals. And then I got 2 or 3 more. And then those people gave me 15 referrals. And I ended up selling over $10,000 in knives in a span of like 7 or 8 months. Worked super part-time because I was carrying 20 units in order to graduate early so that I could open my office because I'd gotten promoted. And I left with I graduated with a bunch of names that I never had time to call. And so I've done this. I know that the statistics show that I think it's 89% of people are willing to give referrals, but only 11% of salespeople ask. I know that some people will not do that. I know that many will if they trust you and you did a good sales conversation and you ask with structure and professionalism. And so I think that this is a goal that you should really, really start to look at and really start to think about how to solve problems around. So just to recap, the most important yet most neglected goal in network marketing is lead generation. You can do this a few ways. You can ask customers after their first appointment for referrals, after maybe a follow-up appointment. You can, when you're calling customers back in to check on them, you could ask them there. I think that's your lowest probability, but a lot of people will need to do that if you didn't do it in the first 2. You can even ask no sales. In fact, they're more likely to give you referrals sometimes. You can also go to vendor events. And these are things that are low cost. They don't require digital marketing experience to be able to get enough referrals to continue to feed your business. Now, one last thing, and you want to multiply your appointment goal by 5 to figure out how many you need. Now, this is all fairly clinical, so I just want to get to the heart of this for a little bit. If you do want to make impact, I mentioned that in the beginning, you want to make impact, you need to actually try. Impact doesn't happen when we just sit around and wait for people to come to us. We have to go meet them where they are, and what that means is caring about our customers, friends and family as if they're our own friends and family, and caring about solving those people's problems or the community problems just as much. And so I just think that that is really, really important to think about and to set that goal on a weekly basis, on a monthly basis, and you could probably drop all the rest for a little bit. Now, my recruiting students, you keep your recruiting goals. But the rest of them, they're all going to happen naturally as long as you execute with skill, right? Which is a lot of what we cover in our courses. So if you want to check them out, we have 3 different courses. We have the first one is sales, second is leadership, third is recruiting. And you can check them out at emergeSalesTraining.com/courses. So I hope that this video was helpful for you. I hope that you start setting this goal and really start thinking about what would happen if someone ran out of people to talk to. And so I'm looking forward to hearing back from you, your responses. Leave a comment. Let me know how this worked for you. If you have a question, go ahead and leave that there as well. We'll be able to help you out the best we can. All right. Have a great day.